You're tuned in to Steve Megatron on Altered Geek.
Do you start your day deciding which video game you're gonna play? You fight with your family over which is better, Marvel or DC. The geek of all of your friends, cause you know what Batman beats Superman. This is the right place to be, so turn up the volume cause you're an altered geek. Altered geek. Get altered. Geeky. Altered geek. From Star Wars to Star Trek, comics to tech. Altered geek. Get altered. Geeky. Altered geek. Pull up a chair cause you're an altered geek.
Hello and welcome to Altered Geek. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and in this episode, well, it's been a little late. Multiple reasons for that. I'm getting ready to take my trip to Texas, and unfortunately, I haven't had time to really sit down and record, and when I have had time, I haven't really felt like it. I've been finished school. I've been inundated with various work projects, and some side, some not. And so yeah, I've just been pretty busy. And granted, there's been a lot of awesome stuff that's come out. I just haven't had the kind of want to sit down and record or do really anything for that matter. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because it's getting to be summer. I don't know if it's because I'm just trying to fulfill this magical number of 200 by the end of the year or by August. But regardless, it's been a little crazy. So anyways, I've been playing the crap out of Star Trek Online. I know I keep mentioning this. But I've got 4 characters going. One on Romulan, one on Klingon, one on 23rd Century Federation, which, if you're going to go and play Federation, it's really the only way to play. And I say that because if you start off with being in the 23rd century, you start off as, on kind of a light freighter. You go to the Enterprise class, and then there's an incident with future Pavel Chekhov and Daniels, and it kind of interconnects between all of the franchise. And I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, but it butts right into the beginning of the game if you play 24th century. So the only benefit is you get the 23rd century costumes for free as a part of your crew. Whoever happens to make it back from your crew to the 25th century gets to keep their uniforms and cycle back to them later. You also get the 23rd century shuttle. And I don't know if it was a glitch for all this stuff, but because some of the time I was having issues with it. I still have issues with this particular character with glitches, and I don't know why. But suffice it to say, the game has been entertaining. You end up in the 25th century. They give you a new identity. They give you a new ship, which is the refit Constitution class. Instead of starting out with the Miranda class starship, you get to go right to a more powerful vessel. And so therefore you are already ahead of the game when you actually get to play. And it's kind of nice. However, my level was high enough that I could realistically skip stuff if I didn't feel like playing it. So I skipped a lot. But there's a glitch in my game that it won't let me skip any longer. And it won't let me go to another level of the episodes. I'm level 60, and I still have 2/3 of the game that I could play. And the other one, I completed everything, just about, other than maybe 3 episodes, or missions in the episodes. I'm trying to do the time travel one right now because you get a nice set of perks from them. And no matter what I do, it seems like they're all nerfed to the character that I'm playing is nerfed to the point that it's like a one-hit kill from these guys. If they load up their cannon, you're just pretty much dead. And then they ambush you, and so no matter what you do, you're screwed. So anyways, that being aside, it's overall pretty good. I finally got the Odyssey class starship, the Enterprise F, on the main character. The secondary, I'm still playing with the Enterprise E. I did get the Defiant on that character because I wanted to try something different, but and it's pretty nice, but it's no match in this particular level. I do like that they changed something in the game when they patched it recently, or at least maybe I didn't realize this. You can switch your starship without having to go to a starbase, and you can switch your character's outfit without having to go to a starbase as well. You have to be in space to change the ship, and you have to be on land to change the outfit. And it helps if you name them, because otherwise you can't differentiate what they are unless you do that. And then anyways, so I created this whole crew. The first ship, I wasn't really going for anything because I didn't know what I was doing. But the second time, for whatever reason, I keep ending up with a massive amount of Andorians, which is pretty neat. But I ended up with a Taylorite too, and I skipped the Taylorite. I was like, you know what? I don't really want to do this character, and so I ditched him, like a bad habit. And so yeah. So anyways, I'm playing this character. I don't like the fact that I keep dying. It's driving me nuts. But anyways, I don't even know where I'm at in space right now. What did it do to me? Yes, I have it open right now. So anyways, I created this character. I have a runabout. I have the Enterprise classic 23rd century and 24th century shuttlecrafts. I have a character I made look like Data, and I called him Data, but I had to use an 8 for the first A because otherwise it wouldn't let me name him that. And then I have an Andorian, and then I have another Andorian that came from the 23rd century. And then I got a Klingon science officer, so I called him Worf, but I had to use A instead of O. And then I had a character that was a Bajoran, so I called him Kira. That was engineering. And then I got a tactical that it's a Trill, but I decided I wanted a Geordie too, so I created that. And then I have a Betazoid, which I could have done as Troy, but I ended up doing like Ensign Rowe from TNG. And then the other character's Temet, which is a female Vulcan science officer, which... so yeah, it's been pretty interesting playing the game. There's a lot you can do in it. A lot of missions, a lot of side stuff. You can go to Ryza and literally like go swimming with the characters. It's hilarious. I prefer the space stuff. I like driving the ship and going through transwarp, and you can actually fly your ship into Earth's space dock, which is pretty sweet. So that aside, I'm going to jump off of the bandwagon of Star Trek Online, and I'm going to go into some other content that I've been saving up throughout the week. So yeah, I'll be right back after this.
Do you want to interact with the show? Well, you can get a hold of us in the following ways. You can email us,
feedback@alteredgeek.com. Or you can fill out the form on the website on alteredgeek.com. You can also get on the episode post on alteredgeek.com and make your comments there. You can, of course, get a hold of us on the social media, Facebook @AlteredGeek, or on Twitter @AlteredGeek. And, of course, you can find the show on the following locations. You can get it on iTunes, on Google Play, on Stitcher, and on TuneIn, Blog Talk Radio, as well as alteredgeek.com. And now, back to the show. And we're back. So, jumping into some of the interesting content on the social medias in the past week and a half. Warner Brothers is apparently making a big move in digital content with one of its flagship brands. Warner Brothers and DC Entertainment are behind a new DC-branded service that will debut in 2018 with two high-profile comic book-themed original TV series, the live-action Titans, from the King of the CW DC Universe, Greg Berlanti and Akiva Goldsman, Jeff Johns, amongst other people. Warner Brothers TV and the anticipated revival of cult animated series Young Justice from Warner Brothers Animation will be titled Young Justice Outsiders. So yeah, they're going to be having their own service. Should be interesting. I kind of look forward to seeing what they're going to do with this. Especially with all of their content. You may eventually see a lot of it go away from the Netflix and from the Hulu and all that stuff when they get this thing fully launched, because they could end up doing their own kind of CBS Go or HBO Go type of setup with it. I'm still not jumping on any of those like exclusive bandwagons. I'm Netflix, Hulu, that's it. I'm not signing up for CBS Now or whatever they call it. HBO Go or any of that kind of content. So, yeah. But it says that Titans will mark the first live-action series in the digital space for DC Entertainment, which has had 7 different broadcast comic series: Supergirl, Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, iZombie, and Gotham and Lucifer. So, yeah. That's going to be a little interesting when they get around to doing this. Guess I'll have to check back on it as time progresses. Going back to the Jurassic era, Jurassic World 2 will have a reprisal of one of the original Jurassic Park alumni, being Jeff Goldblum, returning as his iconic role as Dr. Ian Malcolm. That's actually kind of nice to hear. Because I know he was in the first 2, and then they had the other guy in the first and third, and then of course the scientist that hatched the eggs was in Jurassic World, just like Jurassic Park. So it's getting interesting. I like it just for the sheer fact of what it is. That aside, I have seen Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed it much more than the first one. A lot more fun. Some things I didn't expect because I'm not too hooked on the lore. But yeah, I thought that it was pretty well put together, especially how they introduced Star-Lord's dad, Chris Pratt's dad character in the show, and then who they revealed the villain to be. And I'm not spoiling anything because I don't want to ruin it for anybody. Guardians is just as much fun, if not more, than the previous film. So I'm really looking forward to Thor Ragnarok just to see what they do with it, because it's supposed to have more of a Guardians vibe than what they've had for the past Thor movies. So my wife and I, this is kind of off tangent, different direction, but are trying to detox from sugar to some degree. Like, I'm not really all that particular into it, but I know she is. And she can't help it that after Easter, all the candy goes on sale. So she stocked up on a bunch of it. Suffice it to say, it's been sitting here in my office, and I've been eating a lot of it. Bags of, like, Crunch eggs and M&Ms and stuff like that. So, like, yeah, she's not going to get to eat it, but I'm still stuffing my face with it. So it's not it's not good for my health either. But I should probably stop. I just haven't really gotten I have no self-control when it comes to food, or playing video games. I get hooked on a game that's just kind of, that's how it is. I can't unlatch until I beat it. And then even then, when I got Arkham City and my Xbox 360, I played the game, I think, for about a year before I actually got another game. And then I finally hit boredom and stopped playing it. And then I revisited, and then I stopped playing it again. I think that's what's going to happen with Star Trek Online, because I did that with Battlefield. And I've been meaning to get back to Battlefield 1. I just haven't. But the Star Trek game, when it comes to the point when it starts frustrating me and I can't do what I want to do, that's generally when I cut it loose. So, Star Trek Discovery. I almost don't want to cover Star Trek Discovery because I don't really care to some extent, because it's CBS All Access content and I'm not going to watch it for the most part. And that's kind of sacrilege for me to say because I love Star Trek. And I'm going to give it a shot. And they've cast people to play Klingons. I'm wondering what they're going to look like. I hope that they all look like TOS and they're not trying to pull this, Abrams look or the movie-verse version. I don't know. I want to see something other than what we're getting from this whole series. We're just getting shots, and I'm I really don't care about these pictures. Show me some footage. Show me visuals. Show me these people in the costumes. Don't have these teasers, these lame teasers. And I get the cast that they have. I do like that they changed the Trek crest on the logo from the original one. It looks a lot better now, but yeah. So I was looking up something kind of interesting, and I'm probably going to circle back around to pop culture stuff in a minute. But I was reading something interesting about a kind of mental thing that kind of affects people. I found an article on Time Health. And it was saying, does the sound of noisy eating drive you mad? And here's why. Because it's called the people that have this issue where if a person's breathing loudly next to you in a movie theater, or is slurping soup, or you can hear them chewing, or drinking or whatever, it's one of the if you're one of the people that suffers from a genuine brain abnormality called misophonia, it means sufferers have a hatred of sounds such as chewing, eating, loud breathing, or even repeated pen clicking. The repeated pen clicking doesn't bother me if it's myself. The rest of it bothers me, even from myself. But they named it a condition in 2001, and it was led by some kind of a medical research team in Newcastle University in UK. It's something to do with the frontal lobe. There's a difference in frontal lobes of non-sufferers of this, apparently. But I guess what it says is these scans, the sufferers have a change in brain activity when a trigger sound was heard. And it reveals that people with this condition have an abnormality in their emotional control mechanism, which causes their brains to go into overdrive on hearing trigger sounds. And it says the researchers have also found that this trigger sound could evoke a heightened psychological response with increased heart rate and sweating. In other words, it drives them nuts. And so it says while they're listening to a range of sounds, the sounds are categorized into the neutral sounds like rain, a busy cafe, water boiling, unpleasant sounds, baby crying, person screaming, trigger sounds, breathing or eating. And it says that they presented all these to these people with different levels just to test their the results of the condition. But yeah, they're now claiming it's a genuine brain disorder, which it's driven me nuts. I used to, when I lived with my brothers, I love my brothers, but I used to have to eat separately because it would drive me nuts that I would hear them mowing down on food. It would just drive me absolutely bonkers. Sometimes my own kid does this to me, and it drives me nuts. So if you're suffering from this, you're not alone. So yeah. On The Flash last week, they revealed who is Savitar. And to correct correct my guesstimate last week, I was not correct. I think I said it was either that speedster from the other universe, Earth 19, or it was Ronnie Raymond. And I was wrong on both accounts. Spoiler alert for the next 10 seconds, it was future Barry Allen. So anyways, that was a little bit of an eye-opener. Although there was plenty of dialogue that supported it. But it's still a little bit interesting to hear. There was a funny news article that somebody told me about, or that I heard somewhere. There was an incident where police, and this was like a week ago, but police were investigating unwanted shaving of cats. And the more I think about it, the more it's actually a valid crime. And just hang with me here. It says this happened in Virginia, but they were investigating reports of someone abducting cats, shaving their underbellies and legs, and then just setting them free. It says that at least 7 cats were taken and shaved, and all were returned otherwise unharmed. It says that all the cats were well groomed, had collars, and clearly had owners, but the police were not sure why the crime was committed. But the owners said that they just wanted to stop. Well, one, anybody that's got a cat, let alone 2, I have 2, I physically have to shave my cats. Not with like shaving cream and a razor, but I use an electric shaver to buzz the hair on my cats. And there's 2 reasons for this. One is because their hair, I'm actually allergic to cats, and my office is surrounded by cats. Their litter box, their food, they eat in the office, they go to the bathroom in the office, they sleep in the office. I work in the office. So it says that, like I said, the cats were shaved. So switching gears from that, the GCRN is working on a new Top 100 countdown. And during our last meeting, we kind of decided that this meeting of the minds, we wanted to have you, the listener, choose the next Top 100. So what we've done is we put out a Twitter poll. And so it's going to run for 7 days. And you get to decide the next one. There's 4 categories, although the 4th one, it won't let you do more than 4 choices. So I had to kind of mix the bottom one. So it'll be kind of either or if that's the case. But the first one is Top 100 Professional Wrestlers, Top 100 Comic Book Films, Top 100 Film Franchises, and Top 100 Heroes or Villains. It will be one or the other. If it comes down to it, we'll probably choose one. But we may put that up for another vote. It just depends. But this will run for 7 days. We were going to do a poll on the website and on Facebook, but this just seems like it was a better opportunity. It's on the webpage as well, on the sidebar. So just look for it there. So far, with only 5 votes, Heroes and Villains is winning, and with a close second of Comic Book Films and 0 for everything else. So be sure to check that out. And then kind of jumping into the television aspect of the show, since we've talked about Guardians of the Galaxy and some other stuff, Last Man Standing got canned. I cannot believe that it got canned. I don't even think that there's a reason why it got canned. ABC's just on this like killing spree of all their shows right now, amongst other stations, and I'll get into a few other ones in a minute. But for the life of me, I cannot figure out why Last Man got canceled when it's actually not that bad of a show. It actually is pretty interesting. I like it. I like the jokes. But granted, it's very conservatively charged, and most of the viewing audience anymore is liberal, or they're pushing that. I'm not getting into any of the politics of it because I'm not. But I can only assume that might be part of the reason. But yeah, there's no definitive reason why. It just says that ABC has canceled the sitcom after 6 seasons. There would be no 7th season with Tim Allen on there. So, yeah, I'm a little sad. I rather enjoyed the show, but I guess I wonder what Tim Allen will come up with next. So that aside, getting into some other shows, Arrow got renewed for season 6. Big Bang Theory got renewed through season 12. I can't remember if I talked about any of this in a previous episode. Something in me wants to say I have, but some of it may not have. The Flash got another season. Supergirl got another season. Legends of Tomorrow got another season. iZombie got another season, which I've kind of intermittently watched that. I really don't care about it anymore. Kind of like Once Upon a Time. I just don't care about that either anymore. Or Blacklist, which I think Blacklist got canceled. Lethal Weapon, thankfully, got renewed for season 2. I know I covered that in a previous episode because it was like 2-3 months old at this point. But I'm glad about that. Gotham got its season renewal. And they're saying that Harley Quinn will probably launch the next chapter on the show. So that'll be interesting to see who they cast and how they play that out. Prison Break has been said that it has more story to tell, but there's no telling. They basically wrap up season 5 with season 5. Like so if it doesn't get picked up again, it's perfectly fine. But if it doesn't stay at the season 5 and keep going, then they could pick it back up. I hope that it gets picked back up, but that's just me personally. Yeah, I'm running into that. Powerless got canceled. I'm not really surprised. It was kind of a really terrible attempt at The Office. It really wasn't that funny. The only reason I watched it was because they referenced DC superheroes. But even that, I wasn't like a religious watcher of the show. I don't really care. But NBC will still air the remaining episodes of the show despite its cancellation, probably just so it can pick up the ratings on it. The Flash next week will be interesting because they're going to use King Shark and Captain Cold for helping the Flash steal something. So that'll be pretty fun too. There's a new X-Men show called Gifted coming this fall to Fox, and Bryan Singer's directing it. The first episode. Other than that, I don't really know. Yeah. And Frequency, the take on the movie series, or movie, not series, but film, it got canceled as well after one season, which I can't say I'm surprised. It was good, but what they did in the film, you can't stretch that out for an entire season. It should have been like a mid-season arc, and then they should have changed gears and done something else with it, but I didn't see that really have lasting effects anyway. Although I will say something that was really funny is this past week, Chris Pine hosted Saturday Night Live, and they did a Star Trek scene, and they had them portray it like it was the original series from the 60s. And they used probably their SNL set that they used back when the show was on, and they used to spoof it. And they have all the classic Star Trek shirts, and named everybody after their character in the show. And they had Chris Pine play the Shatner Kirk, and gave him like even the wig. And it was pretty interesting watching him actually try and do the accent of Shatner. And then they had various other people playing other characters on it anyway. And then they had like Spock's like half brother or brother on the thing. And his catchphrase and the whole thing was, "And that's a Star Trek." Because it was called Spock's Secret. It's supposed to be like the hidden 81st episode of the original series. It was funny regardless. I just wish that when they did the Chris Pine thing, instead of going with the original series, that they would have used the Abrams verse. I just think it would have made it more interesting. But yeah. So jumping back into the film land, I have actually something kind of funny. Robin Williams' last film, Absolutely Anything, is finally coming out to theater. He's the voice of a dog in the program. And yeah, I did not even... I mean, I remember the rumor that he had another film coming, but yeah, I don't... I didn't know it was this film. But anyways, it's got Simon Pegg, Kate Beckinsale, and Eddie Izzard, and Robin Williams is playing a talking dog. And then they've got the entire crew of the Monty Python in it. So it was premiered in the UK in August 2015. It's coming to theaters in America on May 12th. So it's been out for a while. Kind of. Man, it's hard to believe that Robin Williams has been dead, like passed away like 3 years ago. That's nuts. Doesn't seem like it's been that long. But anyways, yeah, it's an interesting concept. These aliens give powers to Simon Pegg's character, where he basically says he wants this or he thinks about it, and it happens. So it's called Great Power, Total Irresponsibility, Absolutely Anything. It could be interesting. The other movie bit, which I'm not really that enthused with, is another remake. And that remake is The Great Outdoors is getting a remake. It's going to have Kevin Hart playing in it. I'm not sure who, but yeah, it's interesting to say the least. I'm not a fan of remakes at all. Usually they still pale by comparison, but it's neither here nor there. And my brother actually showed me this a week ago. There's a visual clip that he found, and it's for virtual reality, but it puts you in the Dragon Ball Z world. So you get to... It shows the video of the person kind of looking at his hands like, how did I get here? And then he talks to Goku, and then they decide to attack Frieza, and it shows the guy winding up to do a Kamehameha blast. It's pretty revolutionary, like in that sense. And not to say I wouldn't love to do a Kamehameha on my television, but to sit there and do the power move, like, it looks so ridiculous having this person with their phone on their face. And they've got these special grips for the hand that makes them fly and do the moves, like, so that it detects everything. But it looks like a phone that's attached to your head. And it comes with a bunch of different things, like a standing pad, and it comes with things that go in your hand, and then the eyeglass. It's really bizarre. I would play it at least once. I don't know if I would want to buy it, but that concept is still pretty interesting. So there won't be an episode next week. And that's more so because I won't physically be around. I did originally plan to record 2 episodes this week. And unfortunately, I've been recording this sporadically. And there just wasn't the opportunity to do so. It's been kind of a hectic week. Nothing's really been going as planned. I've been working an extra side job this week to pay for part of the trip. So it's been all kinds of crazy. Plus, my head hasn't really been in the game lately. Which is why I made that kind of thing a few episodes back of what the future of Altered Geek kind of actually will be. Because I'm not quite sure myself. And it's unfortunate that I don't know. But at this point, like, I kind of feel like I need to find a new, I don't know, something to put the focus on. And thankfully, when I get back, I do have 2 guests lined up. And they're actually 2 returning guest hosts or used to be hosts. We're going to be doing a topic on what's the one with... So we're going to do like a focus on adult versus kid collecting, which I think will be very interesting. It's definitely something that I could have a lot to talk about, being that my collecting habits have changed rather drastically in the last year or so. So it's kind of one of those topics that I'm not really sure what's going to happen until we start posing questions back and forth. So it'll be fun to jump into that one. And then the other host, he hasn't been on in a while, and really I haven't had anybody on the show in 5 months, which has been a little odd for me. And so the dynamic has been a little bit different on the show, and like I said, I've been meaning to get hosts back on. It's just time hasn't really worked out for really any of us. And usually I've been so burnt out between school and everything else going on that when it comes to the weekend or comes to the evenings when I normally would record, I don't want to do it. And so I'm planning this like little way to make this fun again, and I need more than one guest host. I'm also going to be on the hunt for some other GCRN staffers to be guest hosting from time to time with me, because I want to change up the conversation and kind of talk about things that are a little bit different, like geeky parenting and modern day, and some other stuff like that. So I don't know what would really interest you guys. I don't really want to waste my time on a clip that may not particularly resonate with you guys, but at the same time, there's some stuff that I think would be kind of fun to talk about just because it would be different. And that's kind of the problem with podcasting now, is there's not a lot of stuff that's different. Everybody's doing the same thing. Everybody's covering the same content. Everybody's like talking about this movie and that movie and pop culture and comics and television and just everything. And so it gets really hard to sit down and figure out something that nobody's doing. But I do have some plans that I've had for a while that just never actually got to get off the ground, that I'm going to try out and see what happens. And so yeah. And then I do plan on doing a couple of kind of video related content. I'm going to probably do a vlog while I'm in Texas to kind of tell my experience of doing that, because one, I'll have internet access, but I won't have editing software, and I won't have the ability to do a podcast, but I can definitely still do an Altered Geek from Texas on the YouTubes. And so that's definitely something I'll probably end up doing. I don't know how many days I'll end up doing that, because I'm only going to be there for 5 days. And so it's definitely going to be something I've never experienced before. I've gone as far down. I've gone, like, driven through Indiana. I've stayed in Illinois before, in Chicago. I've stayed in various places in Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Dells has been the most frequent, but I've been there. I've been to passing through Ohio, passing through Kentucky. I've stayed in Tennessee before. Once when I was a kid, and once when on vacation with my wife a few years back. And then driven through Georgia before, gone to Florida. I've flown to Florida numerous times. I've been to Jamaica, and I've been to Canada, like Ontario and Mississauga. So, yeah, I haven't been to Texas before. And I've heard that Texan hospitality, or Southern hospitality, is supposed to be a lot greater than Northern hospitality, which is basically they kick you over and say, get out of my way. Or, why are you being so nice to me? Because nobody's nice here. General conversation pieces like that. So, I'm looking forward to checking it out. Plus, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to visit my job, which is actually based out of Texas. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I want to, one, check out the building, and two, see some of the people I'm working with that actually work down there right now. But kind of switching back to the podcast itself, what kind of services do you guys actually listen to this on? I'm trying to compile. I have had over the years different ways of promoting and publishing the content. However, I'm not sure what ones I should be focusing on with you guys. Like, I have the all of our shows on TuneIn. I have them on Blog Talk. I have them on Google Play. I have them on iTunes. It's, of course, the most frequent one. Stitcher. Yeah. So, I mean, it's on all those. I've got the feed. I got, so, I mean, it's pretty much everywhere. It's just figuring out what ones there are. Because I'm not really hip to any of the new, yes, I used that word, any of the new setups that people use nowadays. So it's my view is pretty limited on where to send it to. So yeah, so I mean, if there's some that you guys particularly like that I'm not using, that you'd like to see the show come on, that would make it easier for you to subscribe, be sure to let me know. And yeah, so be sure to check out the vote ability on the podcast for the top 100. I definitely recommend that you get involved with that, because it's only going to be available for the next like 6-7 days. And being that I've recorded this clip separately from the actual previous clip that I mentioned it in, just due to time issues this week, and I'll get back to doing regular, fully edited, recorded episodes without any kind of breaks in the near future. It's been hectic to even find any quiet to record the show. So, yeah, so be sure to check it out. It's going to be going on, until I think next Thursday or something like that. But the voting on it is surprisingly neck and neck, which I didn't think was going to happen as much as it is, which tells me that all of the topics we chose for the actual poll are very well received. There's been 47 votes since I mentioned this on that previous clip, and there's 6 days left. It's been retweeted 22 times, favorited 8, replied 4. It's still between the professional wrestlers, the comic book films, film franchises, and heroes and villains. Right now, comic book films is number 1. Heroes or villains is number 2. Professional wrestlers is number 3. And film franchise is number 4. Now, the heroes or villains, to clarify, will be top 100 heroes or it'll be the top 100 villains. It's not going to be both. And what will probably happen is if that does win, we'll vote down on that, or the staff will choose between that, and it will kind of be a surprise grab bag of it. I have my own inkling of what I would like it to be one way or the other. So it should be interesting should it win. But it would be a cross-media platform, meaning television, animation, film, and to a lesser extent comics, but most of those have been adapted at some point. But it's not going to exclude anything is what I'm more or less saying. It's going to be a cross-media platform, heroes or villains, top 100. So you could end up with, Gandalf with, or not Gandalf, wrong one, Saruman, or, Megabyte, Darth Vader, Megatron, J-Axis from Transformers, or, just, it could be anything. I'm just using ones that I know off the top of my head. So, I think it'll be pretty fun. I definitely will be involved with this one, whereas I was not in the last top 100. And again, that came down to a time issue thing. Now that I'm done with school, it's time for me to refocus and double down on the network and a lot of the content. I know that I'm going to be doing some new M-Wires with Blanchard in the near future and some Tooncast Beyonds. And we have some ways of kind of amplifying the podcasts that are already here. And there will be definitely some GCRN Wars coming. So be on the lookout for that. I have a Wars tournament planned out. It just depends on whether I'm moving or not, and I'm not quite sure yet. So, so definitely check all that stuff out. I'm going to be posting more, probably annoyingly so, of the Star Trek Online content, which, funny enough, has caused me to go back and start watching pieces of other Star Trek shows. Such as Enterprise, and so I still don't care for some of the characterizations or characters. It feels, I don't know, too fakey and forced for me in Enterprise, but some of the plot devices I think would have worked well with a different cast. But each show has a different tone, and that's kind of what I've come to the conclusion is what I like and don't like about Star Trek. The original series is campy. Enterprise is trying too hard to fit in the past, which I surmise that Discovery will do the same. To try and be too grungy for a Star Trek show, even though they should have gone for post Star Trek 6, 7, and been in the pre-Next Generation universe. But that would have been the war era kind of thing, with the Romulans and the Klingons and the Federation, so I think that would have been the best time period. But again, neither here nor there. And then TNG's got kind of the serious, daytime drama type of look. And then DS9's a war, kind of war-based show. And then Voyager's like Lost. So it's kind of a grab bag. But that's pretty much what's been going on. And I've, as I mentioned before, just been messing with gaming and trying to get all of my various projects completed before my mini vacation, and trying to make sure that just everything got out that was supposed to. And so, yeah. So until next time, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks.